Rugby found me. I didn't find rugby, meaning that God opened that door. And this is what I'm saying. When you're connected to God, He brings you before opportunities. He brings you into places where you will be fruitful. When you are connected to the vine, it produces the fruit in you. When I went back to South Africa, I went and did a talk at a church in Pretoria. It was a men's evening. There was a coach there. I didn't know he was in the crowd. And he came up to me afterwards and he goes, hey, you know what? I've just been appointed the head coach of this team called the Lions in Super Rugby in South Africa. We're in trouble. We relegated. We lost our sponsors. Things are not going well. Can you please come along and help us? Whatever good players they had left them to go play for other unions. And the coach comes to me and he says, can you help us? We don't have a mental coach. Can you come and help us? I mean, they were so desperate. They get a guy that's never played a game of rugby in their life to motivate them. And I go in there. And my job, my main task was, I said, God, all I got to do is get them connected to you. And the coach said to me, I'm a Christian. Most of the players are Christian, so you can do what you want to do. So I go in there, and I start using the Bible to mentor them. And that story I put into the book, Making Sense of Nonsense, when I wrote the story. The captain of the Lions says this here.
Coach Johan Ackerman called us all together. Coach Aki said to us, there's this guy coming to talk to us, and my first reaction was, not again. And then Coach Aki's informed us that it's an Indian dude. Okay, but let's give the guy a chance. I mean, in the first meeting with Myan, we knew as a team, this is something special. It's something different. Faithful motivation was quite special for us as a team. Working with Myan was quite special. I mean, the team was in a very tough time. I mean, being relegated out of Super 14, everybody was down, and Myan, I can remember the team was quite down and out. I mean, Myan got a team that was down and out to start believing in themselves again, believing that they becoming the best. Now the Lions are one of the leading teams in Super Rugby. I mean, it all started back then with the great work.
Not again. And then he looks and he sees, hey, it's an Indian guy. And he goes, because Indians don't go into rugby, that's not our sport. We here, we there. Cricket, that's our sport, Getting Myan to come in, an Indian, speaking to us in Afrikaans. He says, but what was the biggest surprise? And what was the best part of what Myan did? Myan was the first mental coach to use the Bible to motivate us. And he says, we were Afrikaner boys. We grew up with the Bible. But to us, the Bible was on a Sunday. Never made sense to speak about it the rest of the week. And he said, we played rugby. What does rugby and the Bible have to do with, what does rugby have to do with the Bible? And I was living in Pretoria. I'd written the book for a famous South African rugby player, P.S. Peace, who was from the Bulls territory of Pretoria. The big rivalry between Pretoria and Johannesburg, where the Lions were from. And I was friends with the Bulls. I mean, I was there regularly with them. And even in the Bulls team, they made up the majority of the South African rugby teams. I'm just giving you some context. And they were saying to me, what are you doing with these losers, man? Why are you traveling 50 kilometers to go and coach these guys? Stay with us, man. We're going places. We've just won Super Rugby 2 years in a row. We're going to another World Cup. Why are you wasting your time with these losers? And in that team, that photograph, there was only one Springbok player in the team in 2013. And to them, they were looking at other careers out of rugby because they were relegated. They had no hope, no future. And I said, in that squad of 45, there was only one South African rugby player there. When I'd finished with them at the end of that year, the beginning of 2014, there was 9 players in the team that made the South African rugby team. And then he puts his hand up and he goes, Myan, correction. 4 years later, there were 22. I never played a game of rugby in my life. So I couldn't teach them about rugby. But what I did was, I got them connected to the vine. And I said to them, from our greatest rejection, God can give us our greatest direction. And if we are obedient, if we abide, if we remain in union with Him, it can lead to our resurrection.